greetings to you all on this most special day. It is truly an honor and privilege to welcome this August gathering to the 10-year anniversary celebration of the Amur Falcon Conservation story. On behalf of the Department of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Nagaland, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guests from outside Nagaland, led by Dr. Suresh Kumar, who is now almost a native of this place, and also our friends from WWF and FES. Welcome to the Falcon Capital of the world. Also, warmest of welcome to the most important stakeholders, the community that made this conservation success story possible. The Village Council Chairman from Wokha, Dimapur, Longleng, Perin and Mohokchung, and their representatives, the Amur Falcon Roosting Area Union Pangti, Doyang Fishermen Union, Limsachan Lok Society, and others. For our other partners in this conservation journey, the various organizations present here, as well as a representative from the District Administration and Police and media, warm welcome to all of you. Today is the day that we are commemorating this journey that all of us embarked on 10 years ago, never to look back again. History was made when zero hunting was achieved in 2013 via the efforts of the government and the NGOs and the unprecedented support of the community, as a result of which hunters turned into protectors and conservationists. This is the day we reminisce about all that has happened, and also the day when we resolve to continue our commitment towards conservation. So heartiest welcome to each and every one of you. We are happy and grateful that you are here with us.
First of all, let me extend my welcome and thanks also, especially to those who have come from outside. I know it was a very short notice, and I have received phone calls and messages from many people that kind of, why it was kept at such a short notice. They would have liked to come, but there are circumstances we couldn't, accommodate other days. So even though they are not here, but many of them would have loved to join. Now, coming to the Amur Falcon story. Well, in 2013, I was not in the department. I was working with Government of India. And I am a photographer by hobby. And there are certain pictures which kind of leaves an impression at you which you will not forget your lifetime. It may be that picture wherein that child during the Ethiopian meme, and the vulture sitting by its side, the child is just about dying. Or maybe that girl who is running from napalm bombing in Vietnam. And though I was not in the department and I was largely away from, what was happening in Nagaland, I happened to see a picture wherein one person, he's carrying maybe, like 100, 150 dead Amur falcons, slung across the shoulder and kind of, taking them to sell. And I said to myself, my goodness, what's happening? Knowing Nagaland, I served here, hunting is still considered kind of, it is considered, I would say, a legitimate way of, living off the land. I said to myself that, this bird is now doomed. There's no hope for it. But, there are margin of error, and there was a margin of error in my assessment also. I never knew that when I would come back to the department and join the things, I would come to learn that how a story, how it just turned around, and instead of bringing the bad name and the criticism that was so ripe at that moment, would be turned into praise and into a success story which everybody wants to emulate. So when I came to know about, when I came back, I met bird lover myself, so kind of, I was always interested to know, bhai, ye kaise hua, kya hua, how this was achieved. And then I realized that it was a concerted effort. It was a concerted effort. Everybody joined hands. Everybody realized that this massacre has to stop. And there was a point when everybody rallied together and turned the story around. And as we just heard that for the last 10 years the bird has been having a safe passage. And except this year I heard like one incident. Other than that, I am so proud to say that Pakao led by his team, other our divisions from the department, they have been doing wonderful work, and the birds have been kind of now it's their safe passage is more or less ensured. But we are not commemorating only the 10th anniversary of this safe passage that was provided to the birds, to conservation birds. We are also commemorating the innate goodness that is there in the human beings. It may lie dormant for a while, it may kind of the circumstances may suppress it. Given a fortunate moment, given this enough motivation, we all would like to bring this innate goodness in us that out and work for the society, work for noble goals like safety. So commemorating this innate goodness in us that was brought out. We are also commemorating the spirit of unity that was shown by various organizations, right from the church to the village councils to the student bodies to the department, police, everybody put together, and how a horror story was turned out to be was turned around into something beautiful and something which had what regards recognition at almost every level. So this story has kind of given a fresh hope to not only to Nagaland but to most other parts in Northeast that there's no need to give up. Even in the most difficult of circumstances, things can be turned around, provided you join hands together and let that innate goodness in us to come out. With that, I would like to conclude because we are already running short of time. Thank you very much. Let me thank once again to all.
To help us understand where are the conservation efforts of our sides. So if Pangti is an area where we are initiating conservation actions, similarly elsewhere similar such conservation actions are required. So I think the track is stopover sites, and then their incredible migration going all the way down to southern Africa and then going up. Things happen. There are a lot of birds that come to India on their migration. They have birds do stop over to rest and then proceed on the journey. But here in Nagaland, it is not just to rest, like what Suman had earlier mentioned, that they are here primarily because they are getting a lot of food to eat. And that food is the termites. Termites are there everywhere. But there is something again unique about the termites. So there is a section on the termite story as to what are these termites and why are they emerging at this time. So this story of the Amur falcons, which has been captured in this report, tells you everything, tries to link with every aspect of it. And then finally, the southwest monsoon, which is so important for whole of India, or also to northeast India. The same southwest monsoon that starts off from the Antarctic Sea, which is far down below the equator, comes up into India and brings rainfall. June, July, August, September, Dehradun receives a lot of rain, but most parts of India receive a lot of rain. Tamil Nadu receives only rain, which is the returning monsoon. That is the northeast monsoon. Most parts of Tamil Nadu are dry. Most parts of southern India are dry. And it is the northeast monsoon which brings that rain. And that northeast monsoon, I would very much like to believe that it begins here in Nagaland. It actually starts off somewhere in this region. So between the southwest monsoon and the northeast monsoon, there is a lag period. There is a certain amount of time when it's perfectly conducive for the termites to emerge. So if we are talking about millions of Amur falcons here, then there are trillions of termites. And nature has created different species to arrive at certain points of time to bring about a balance in this. So that story has been captured. So if you are talking about monsoons, then definitely the Amur falcon has a story. And somehow when you try to connect with all this, you realize that the Amur falcons know everything. They just seem to know everything. One of the interesting aspects when on their migration to Nagaland, they don't come to Nagaland straight. They actually go to Manipur first. They go to the Imphal Valley first. They fly over the stopover sites in Tamenglong. The birds are here. Then many of them actually fly over Tamenglong. They are actually making a detour. If they had decided to come via Imphal, they could have straight away gone down into Bangladesh and gone down to Africa. But after crossing into the Imphal Valley, they have this affiliation or affinity to the Naga region. So they are turning up northeast, coming into Nagaland, spending time here, and then going back. So it is a lot to do with the northeast monsoon. It's a lot to do with the termites. And so it has been captured here in this, and I feel so satisfied after 10 long years that you do something and it gives you such interesting, fascinating insights about these birds. And there are endless stories. There is so much to do. There is still a lot to do. And so we tried to cover the other aspects of it. So I think I'm committed. I think I'm hooked on to this aspect. I think for the rest of my life, I will keep doing something or the other about the Amur falcons. Possibly an excuse to come to this beautiful place, Nagaland. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Respected Chairperson Shri Dharmendra Prakash, IFS, PCCF and HOFF Nagaland, Shri Kikheto Sema, IAS Commissioner and Secretary to Government of Nagaland, Department of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Shri Vedpal Singh, IFS, PCCF and Shri
Our Sir Suman will share the story of Amur Falcon since from 2013 till now. But adding to that, I would like to read out some short compiled stories about Amur Falcons in Pangti village since from 2001. Pangti village is rich in flora and fauna. Other than that, Pangti village is well known as the Falcon Capital of the world. It is believed that Amur falcons were seen since 100 years back during the time of our forefathers. And we used to call the Amur falcons as Eninam in our local own dialect. During our childhood time also, we witnessed the falcons flying in the sky in search of flying termites in the evening, but were only recognized after taming the Doyang River by Doyang Hydro Power Station (DHPs) under NIPO notice. In 2000, the Amur falcons arrived during second week of October and stays till the end of November. The migratory bird Amur falcons were spotted crossing at Pangti village under Wokha district in Nagaland in the year 2001. 2001 in flock of thousands, and subsequent years, the flock gradually increased to massive in numbers. But owing to the lack of awareness for conservation of wildlife, the villagers, hunters in traditions, started hunting the birds in commercial scales for sustenance from 2006 to 2012. The villagers used the fishing nets from one tree to another to catch the Amur falcons. They used to sell the birds in the marketplace during the time. Their income from selling the birds were more than 10 to 15,000 per day per hit. However, the massive killings of Amur falcons were brought to fore in 2012 to 2013 through the efforts of the conservationists India and its associates like forest departments, the Nagaland Wildlife and Biodiversity Conservation Trust, Wildlife of India, etc., and NGOs, etc. Following the exposures of the random killings, the Amur falcons till 2012, awareness campaign for conservation and protection of the migratory bird, Amur falcons, were started on war footing in 2013 by the State Forest and Wildlife and various departments and NGOs like Conservation Trust, PNHS, etc., involving the entire community, roasting area landowners, village council, churches, etc. Responding to the awareness campaign, the roasting area landowners, the village councils, together with the entire community, resolved to conserve and protect the falcons in Pangti village and prohibited the killing of Amur falcon in the year 2013. And in 2014, the roosting area landowners formed a group called Amur Falcon Roosting Area Union, Afro Pangti Village, to conserve and protect the falcons in Pangti Village. Till today, the Afro Pangti Village considered as the main protector of the Amur falcons. In recognition to the efforts of the conservation and protection of the Amur falcons in Pangti Village has been conferred with various prestigious awards by the various agencies as follows. The Meritorious Awards 2014 by the Department of Forest, Government of Nagaland. Number 2, the Governor's Commendation Certificate by Government of Nagaland. Number 3, the Earth Heroes Award 2014 by the Royal Bank of Scotland. Number 4, the Palibari Foundation Annual Award 2014 by the Government of Assam. On the other hand, the Pangti village under Wokha district, Nagaland, is given a prestigious name as the Falcon Capital of the world.
First of all, I thank Almighty God for blessing us this beautiful day and bringing us together on this very important occasion. I agree with someone that it is very much there in the Bible. If you see in Genesis 1:1, God created heaven and the earth. And when He created heaven and the earth, He created all the universe, waters, rivers, forests, wild animals, birds, and only after that. And if you see chapter 1:22, God directed, or His wish was to increase. And only if you see chapter 1:28 only, He gave the responsible to the human being. So which means that human being was created at a later age to take care of his universe and all this ecosystem, biodiversity. But we have felt miserable, and on this occasion we should also realize that it is our responsibility. God has entrusted us to look after the universe and to look after the wildlife and ecosystem in a way that He deserves us to do. And as my brother Ramindra has already stated, within a span of nearly little over 2 months in this department, is amazing and interesting, working with so many efficient officers. We have tried me and Vedpal. I think that we have traveled to all the Wokha, Lotha country, and we have interacted with the farming community, and also we went to the Intanki wildlife sanctuary, and we had a discussion with the community members, and we will go on and on about the conservation of the wildlife and to tell to our people to maintain the ecosystem and biodiversity in this beautiful state of Nagaland. And I'm personally so happy to be here because after 35 years of my service, working with a group of officers who is ever ready to work for the betterment of our community. And today I feel so happy and pride and honor to be here with all of you as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Amur Falcon Conservation in our state. You will agree with me that it's about 10 years back, the state government, rather the community, has taken a responsible of safeguarding one of the world's most remarkable urban wonders, that is Amur Falcon. And this falcon undertake one of the longest migrations of any raptors. Its extraordinary migration journey covering an stunning of about 22,000 kilometers annually. Their journey spanning from the breeding ground in Asia to the southeast reaches of Africa, including a marathon non-stop day and night flight of 40,000 kilometers across Arabian Sea, which is amazing, truly amazing. It's, let me share a little bit of my experience. It's about more than 10 years back. When we go to our native village, we always cross Wokha. And every time we cross, somewhere around 2009, 10, 11, we used to find loads of birds sailing on the roadside. Particularly, we used to stop at Wokha, NST colony side, that on the right side, a lot of restaurants are there. So on the left side, we come across a lot of birds selling there, And such as someone has stated, it was so cheap with a bunch of 10, 12, you get at 300, 400, and 500. It's depend upon your bargaining power. And I used to be quite amazed. And I used to interact with the farming community. Why? What price? Something like that. So they used to share with us and with me that it is like a blessing, it is like a manna for them. Doyang hydro is like a manna because they are in a position to sell it, and they are earning a lot of money. So one day I took a picture and I sent it to my brother, led Thomas Rima. At that time he was then the additional director of tourism. And I remember because my distant cousin, Kikheto Sema, who was then posted at Wokha as a soil and water conservation officer, he used to share, and a retired additional director of soil and water conservation, he used to share about this falcon to me actually. And time to time we had a discussion about it. So that day, one day, it was, I believe, in the year 2000, maybe in the November 2011, I took a picture, sent it to Thomas' brother, and I even talked to the then PCCF Sri Rao, and by the time I was the finance secretary finance of the state government. On my return, we had a discussion, and we discussed that we should do something. And I remember my boss at that time, additional chief secretary and FC was Sri Toshi Iyer. We had a discussion and have a lot of feedback. And one good reason is our state and the Northeast region, but particularly our state, is untouched by green revolution. We are not touched by green revolution. So we have not used fertilizers or pesticides in our land. So we call it, and it is we weighing it as a naturally Nagaland. So whatever grows in the state of Nagaland is natural and organic. So maybe that also helped to some extent. And one thing is, the source of water is very pure, very clean. So that could also be the reason why all this factor is attracting the Falcon to be the capital in Nagaland. And as the earlier speaker has stated, is Falcons specialize in hunting insects, and especially flying, insects, which could also be the reason. And the roasting place is, I believe, it is the sunrise and sunset. And if you see the common sense, which is uncommon, and go across, I've also been actually, as a APC, I had a lot of interaction with the people, and I used to go and see. So all these places are both sunrise, and they enjoy both sunrise and sunset. I am thinking to visit. I would like to request Toko and the group DFO Dimapur. I wish to go and see in the Tek area, maybe next week. Maybe I expect me on 6 or 7 or 8. So likewise, if you see the the places where, and I have been to Nuklu village also. Both of us, we spent a night when I was APC, and we went and we have observed. So this could be the reason why Nagaland is the capital of Falcon. So I believe no one of you and no one of us would be willing that the capital should be shifted. So it is their responsible of the department, if they're responsible of all the community, that we should retain the capital forever and ever. And thank the church, because in Nagaland, the church is the strongest institution, and people pay sincere attention in the church than that of any other social categories. And way back we have been discussing this issue, and the church took a decision in its the Nagaland Baptist Church Council in its 72 annual conference held at Atibong in Peren district, took a decision for conservation of wildlife, protection and ecosystem. But that was not followed in letter and spirit. So we discussed a lot, and it was on 74th annual conference held from 4 to 6 of February 2011 in my native village, Rotomi, that a decision was taken. Since I was meant to be the convener 2010, I have been to my village as many as 10 times, 11 also. And I used to see a lot of falcon selling on the road. And we discussed, and the MBCCA has taken a strong resolution in my in our native village, that the churches across the land and breadth of the state will protect for conservation, biodiversity, and also focus on the climate change. And I think that has also helped a lot. And we would like to thank the General Secretary of MPCC. Even this year, they issued a direction or a request letter.
I normally divide my role into 3 parts. One, to dream and visualize the vision action plan. Second, to interact with the people, my subordinate officers, general public, encourage them. And third, to relate the shortcomings to the power to be. Now, you see, in Nagaland, the wildlife wing is working with a very shoestring of the budget and very less number of the staff. In fact, I think most of the schemes, more than 90% of the schemes, they are funded by Government of India. And only state shares are coming for the wildlife wing. And wildlife is not a job where, you go 10 to 4 and do the job. It involves round the clock, patrolling. It needs a lot of surveillance. It needs a lot of intelligence gathering. Not only that, the people who are into wildlife crime, they run a very organized syndicate. They are well armed. Whereas our own staff, they are not having any such thing. It is a matter of concern also sometimes for me. Like 2 years, 3 years back, when Honorable Governor was insisting that, the Pangti National Park and the area close by Hebron Cap has to be vacated. And we were alleged that we don't do any job and we allow everyone to come and encroach. It's not like that. The department performance has to be seen from a very broader angle holistically. What are the ingredients to succeed? One, that resources are available. Second, bona fide intentions are there. And third, essentiality on the part of department and a strong outreach to the people. Now I can say with certainty, the last three we suffer on the first count. You imagine my plight when someone, calling me from the Kipri and telling me, sir, मैं लोग तो तारखान के अलग चेस को रहा था किसे, और वो गाड़ी तो बनाई जैसे की करो, और वो तारखान तो अलग वेपन भी धरे ऐसे की करो. Now I can't afford to lose lives of my staff like that. That too in the hands of the people who are doing the illegal activities. So there is a saying in Hindi that Sarkar involves such as that. The government runs with a lot of pride and honor. I think we have to restore it, and we can restore only when we have the bona fide intentions and our actions speak for that. Since all the stakeholders they are here, I take this opportunity to request everyone to look into these aspects. It is very easy to do the postmortem that, okay, I was going to Dimapur and Karima side, people were coming and selling wildlife. What do you do? I cannot reply in one sentence. The things have to look into the broader system. Definitely this department doesn't have anyone who encourages the killing and who helps the illegal trade. If you look in the broader perspective of the various state forest departments and their role and contributions, and that too with our performance in JICA and KFW, I can say with certainty that we are much better, doing perhaps one of the best and with a strong motivation. So I take this opportunity to salute all the officers, starting from the Forest Guard rank. And one thing which is very much imperative to let me know everyone, that in area of natural resource conservation, we will never succeed if we don't involve people. In Nagaland, we have willing people. Not only willing, they are proactive. Many times I find general public is more forester than the professional forester. We need your guidance, we need your contribution all the time. Not only that, you have to be vigilant. I have seen a number of the villages, they have their own set of the rules, and that set of rules are imposed with more firmness than any government legislation. I salute Nagaland for this. See, 30 years back, now I recall well in 91, 92 when I joined Nagaland, the conservation was never a priority. And that to wildlife conservation is a big no. The emphasis was on the production forestry. It was, essentially, trees are felled and taken out, revenue is generated, a lot of syndicates operating in Dimapur. But the way Nagaland has transitioned from that phase in last 30 years, it is simply a kind of example to the rest of the world. Where we fail is that we don't advertise, we don't compile, we don't sensitize people. And because of the unique land pattern, the Article 371A, the forest areas are not in the hands of the government. But nevertheless, this has not reduced the forest cover. The general perception outside is that the moment you hand over any property, common property resources, it will be exploited. Why this has not happened in Nagaland? It is because of the people. This is our strength. So we must realize our strength and accordingly we act. And I request that here the role of media, the agencies who have come from the outside, like WII, I have talked to this Virendra director, and I told you can, put rest of the country in one platform and Nagaland one. I always tell in the ministry that for Nagaland there should be a separate session. You cannot club with me with the rest of the PCCS in the country because I have a different cup of tea. So wherever you go, you please highlight what Nagaland is and what Nagaland has done. It is not a mean achievement. Only problem is that ever if you give air tickets to some, big journalist in Delhi, he or she will refuse. First they will ask, कि उधर तो गोली तो नहीं चलेगा, अच्छा खाना मिलता है, होटल है. So when we are grappling with these issues, where is the scope for us? Not only that, see, look, Nagaland Forest Department, vis-a-vis other forest department. Look at the resources they have. Here, not only that, we conceptualize a project, we formulate it, we push it, and then we look for the funding agencies also, which other forest departments don't do. Then, on the back end side, we don't own the forest. So, it is very easy to put a pointing finger at some department or institution that you have failed. But once you look from the broader perspective, I believe you will end up nothing but saluting the department and the people who have worked in this department for the last 60 years. It is their contributions and it is their dreams that Nagaland is still boast of more than 70% area under the vegetative cover. Now, one aspect I want to touch, any program of the conservation doesn't succeed if there is no incentivization. Incentivization in form of the livelihood security programs, involvement of more departments, convergence. I don't mind if, a special purpose vehicle is, constituted for the protection of Amur Falcon. That will help. That will bring other players on one platform. It is collective responsibility, and we have to take everyone along with us. And see the location of Pangti. It is bordering to Assam. It has Doyang Lake, perfect site for the development of ecotourism. As the time passes by, all the tourisms are turning towards ecotourism. There we have the big opportunity to boost our economy. I wish to have one training program to conduct, for grooming our boys and girls to become wildlife guides. Very few organizations in the country, they have this facility of having wildlife guides. So these are the few words I thought I will share as a head of department. What are the predicament, what are the challenges before us, and what are the areas where we can converge, collaborate, and make it happening. So I am really thankful that all of you made it possible to come all the way from different villages. A special thanks to Wildlife Institute and other NGOs who have been, feeling at home in Nagaland. I need not to go extra mile to make you comfortable. That is a very soothing point for me.
Nagaland TV, Sob Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.